Good morning students. Today we will study about history, chapter number 1st, when, where and how. Take a look at the picture of old monument. Can you guess who built it? When was it built? Does it tell us about the age which it was built? In what way it is different from the buildings of today? These are a few questions that come in our mind when we see such old monuments and buildings. It is difficult to answer these questions unless you know how the peoples of the past lived, when the beliefs they followed, what activities they performed, and how all these relates to our lives at present. In this chapter, we will find what about why we need to history and past and which sources we can use for these purpose. Why we study the past? History is the study of the past events in the order in which those happen. While studying history, we often wonder when it was important to study the past. One obvious reason may be find out how old people lived, what they ate, which games they played, etc. But studying that past is essential for many other reasons also. Our lives at present are based on events that happened long back. The study of the past makes us understand why we live, think and act they were solved today. It is also help us understand and solve many problems we are facing today. Sometimes we study history to understand more about our culture, to know how it has come into existence and to appreciate it. History also helps us to know how the people of our country come together to form a nation. History is a bridge linking our past and our present. History and proto-history and prehistory. Historians have classified the past into history, proto-history and prehistory. History of men started when men learned how to write. They began to keep record of the times. This period is known as history. Proto-history is the time period of which we have written records, but they are few to still cannot be read. The time before men began writing is called prehistory era. Prehistory is the period that means with a precession of people's beings about 500 million years ago and ends with the innovation of writing. It is important to point out when prehistory ended and history began, since it varies from region to region. Where humans live in India. Many geographical locations in India were inhabited by the early settlers. Human beings settlements near rivers. These give that access to water. Historians have identified many such states. The valleys in the central India close to the Narmada river and the agro hills in the northeast show evidence of the development of agriculture. It is here that rice was first cultivation. The human also lived near the river Indus and its tributaries is in factor. It is here that the first cities come up about 4700 years ago. There is evidence that cities were established near the river Ganga and its tributaries, but about 2500 years ago, a large kingdoms come up near the rivers. Magadh was the such large kingdom which grow near the river Sund. India has mountain, plains, plateaus and sea coast. The Himalayas have act as a barrier of the north for foreign invasion. The numerous rivers of India lead to the rise of human settlements around them. The Harappa civilization flourished around the river Indus. The Indo-Gangetic plains lies between the Indus and the Ganga Sea and the rise of many powerful kingdoms and emperors. The coastal plains have been centers to trade and commerce since ancient time. There was an economic exchange and ideas, cultural and traditional activities. These results in the development of a unique and diverse culture. Earliest name of India. India has been known by many names in the past. About 2500 years ago, the Greek who come in from the northwest crossed the river Indus, which they called Hindus or Indus. The land beyond the river began to called India. The name Bharata was being used in the Rig Veda. It was named after King Bharat, who was famous ruler.